Alright, this is Finderex again. This time we're going to be doing something a little differently. We'll be playing a game that I actually recently finished work on. Um, Long story short, I basically began this project a couple years ago and completed a working prototype about a year ago. And then I got a bunch of people from online to work on the game as a sort of a group project. That ended up falling through, and so what I ended up doing was revamping the prototype to make it a little more playable, and then I put it online. Um, what I have here is the desktop version of the game. It's called Oneiro, and we can just proceed to play it here. And I figured I'd show a little bit of a walkthrough for some of the beginning levels. So let's begin. I made this game using Unity. Um, so it starts out with this just regular configuration. Um, if you want to play the game, there's instructions for all of this in the instruction manual on the website and actually packaged in the game download, which is given in the YouTube description for this video. So we'll set it to a smaller graphics quality so we can do a video for this. Wait for it to start up here. Alright, Oneiro. So let's begin. Instead of a regular title screen, you just sort of walk over and choose New Game or Continue. We're going to be starting a new game. You can also just press N on the title screen for New Game or C for Continue. And here we're starting out in the desert. And this is a pretty simple level. You just have to pretty much head for the only thing that you can see in the desert, which is this pyramid. And if you look closely, you can see there's an object sticking out of the pyramid. So now we'll just walk up here and pick up this sword. You pick things up using the E button.
5, 3, 5, 4, 5, 3, 5, 4.
Alright, so here we are in the main world. You can see an enemy just walked by. You can swing your sword. You've also got a health bar and a ritual bar down there, which isn't used just yet. As you can see looking at the enemy, the graphics for this game are pretty primitive. This is about the best I could do. I don't have any 3D modeling experience, and there's just so many assets in the game that would be difficult to model them all. So I opted to do sort of this flat billboarding technique for some of the more complex objects. Some of them are just normal cubes and things. So you can see there's a little painting and a bunch of armor suits. But yeah, I did all the graphics myself, or lifted from online and then adapted. All the levels I had done myself, all the programming, of course, the actual writing for the game, and the music. So it's pretty rough. Here we see there's a tapestry, there's a red X, and there's actually a wall with shark teeth coming after me, and it just bit me a little bit, so I lost some health. So let's just proceed. There's another one of those lizard men. So we just hit him with a sword, and he dies in one hit. Over here we see another, like a heraldry thing, and then there's a bunch of barrels in this room. And we'll come back to this room a little later. So let's proceed. So this level is meant to be sort of like a castle, like a bluestone castle. And so it's sort of divided into 3 different floors. Here's the main floor. And here we can see there's a bunch of these guys, and he'll chase after me once he sees me. If you don't let him see you, then you can just sneak up on him. Here's some sort of bedroom. And here is an item you can pick up using the E button. It's a jar. Um, this item is actually optional for this level, so I'm not going to be using it, but there's a hint to... There's a boss later in the level, and you can either defeat them using regular combat, or you can solve an item puzzle to get it. You basically mix two items together in this jar, and then use that against the boss, but we'll not do that this time. Here's a cat, a standing cat, and it's running away. Well, let me just walk through the rest of the level a little bit. There's some eyeballs, they don't actually hurt you. There's a kitchen, there's some water, a stove, I guess. Not very castle-y. And then there's sort of this alchemical room or library, and there's some sulfur and such. It's like a little machine room. Nothing here does anything. And I think that's the last lizardman. I'm actually going to let him go. Down here there's what would normally be the entrance hall to the castle, but it's just a bottomless pit instead here, so we don't want to go down there or else we'll die. So instead I'm going to just come up the stairs and go up these stairs, and then we can see that the cat we saw earlier is here. So we just hit him with the sword and he goes running, and we'll follow him over to the room we were in before, the barrel room, which we'll get to in just a second here. There we go. So he just blasted through those barrels, and we can just jump by, fall into this little hole, and you can see this is the atrium again, but there's this little platform that leads into the next room. And we'll jump up these stairs here. And here we are in the boss room, and you'll see all these statues don't have a head except for one. And I wonder what'll happen. Okay, so this is the boss. It's just literally just Michelangelo's David, which is a statue. So he just jumps around, and if he jumps on top of you, it'll damage you. Like that. So the way to defeat him, if you try to hit him with your sword, it doesn't do anything. And if you try to jump up and hit him, it doesn't do anything because he's freakishly tall. So what you gotta do is try to get a height advantage by jumping up on this block they start off on, and then jump up and hit him in the head. And I don't know if you noticed that because I got hit in the process, but he flashed red for a second there. I'll try to do it again without getting hit. There. So he flashes dark red, that means you damaged him. And he jumps a little further and a little more often every time you hit him. So it gets a little harder to... Whoops, I missed. A little harder to hit him and position him where you want, because he might end up jumping on top of you if he jumps far enough. Like there we had a little more clearance. I think he's still got another couple hits. I think it's something like 6 hits to defeat him. Okay, no, he's too close. So we'll try to lure him this way, and then back this way. And I got hit again. Okay, so now he's one hit away from being hit, or destroyed. So we'll just back up, and then we'll move forward. And we'll... Oh, shit, he got a bunch of air there. We'll loop around. There we go. So 6 hits and he's dead. And then he leaves this little head behind. And this ties into what is called the ritual system in this game. if you press the V button or whatever button you map to it, you can use this ritual, which is like a special power. Um, this one happens to be stone skin, which makes you as heavy as stone and makes your skin like stone. So you take a little less damage, but you move more slowly. You can't jump as high. But you can use it to press down these little tiles, for example.
Stone skin.
So you use stone skin and it opens up the door. Alright, so now we're in the forest level. And you'll see these flaming caterpillars which show up. So just dispatch those. And then the main thing about this level is there are two exits that are gated off. And I'll go to them in turn. But to open them up, you have to hit all five, I think it's 5 of these Moai heads, and they just sink into the ground. There's also these living stone things, which it jumps to the nearest stone you're at, and it'll try throwing rocks at you, so just walk past them. The other thing about these flame caterpillars is if they're close enough to a tree when you aggro them, they'll set fire to it, and then those trees will set fire to other trees, and it'll start to set the whole place on fire, which is, yeah, like that. So those 2 trees caught fire. If you touch those trees while they're on fire, you get damaged. There's another Moai head. Whoops, okay, I touched the tree by accident. There's one of the exits, and then the other one is over here. Boy, the place really caught fire. And then we'll just go up here, and we'll hit the Moai head. And if you look behind there, amongst these trees, there's this little gearbox that's coming up out of the ground. As you hit the Moai heads, it becomes further and further unearthed. So once you hit all 5, it'll be completely visible. So we'll get the 4th one there. And I believe the 5th one is over here. Where'd it go? Oh, goodness. Okay, and there's the other exit, which is the mall. The first one was, I think, it leads to the lake. So those are the 2 levels you can choose from. So it branches paths off at this level. So now that we hit all 5 Moai heads, if we go over to this gearbox and then press the action key, which is E, it sinks into the ground and the gates are gone. You can see through these burned up trees. So there's the lake, and this is the mall. I'm going to take the path of the mall. All those trees caught fire as well. Alright, so then we use the action button to open the door. If you're trying to interact with something and it's not entirely clear what's going on with it, just always press the action key. And either something will happen or it won't. So you have a bunch of T-Rexes. And we'll just move by them. They're not facing me right now. So, oh, okay, that one can see me. There's an ice cream store. We're going to skip that. And they're coming after me. We'll duck into here, this little shortcut. And they can't get in because they're too big. And we'll go through here. Alright, so here we are in the mall. All the stores except for that one are Hallmark, just because patterning an entire mall worth of stores would be prohibitively difficult. So these UFOs shoot little volleys of bullets at you. So as long as you keep weaving left and right and jumping around, if you hold the space bar, you can just jump continuously. Then you'll be fine. Also, there's all these, well, let's skip that for now. We'll pick up this rifle and press this pressure plate. Just with your regular weight, you don't need to use stone skin. The rifle doesn't do anything currently. If you try to use it, it just clicks. The other thing in this level is there are these silhouette people that sort of appear and disappear, but they don't really do any harm, and you can just walk through them. Alright, so now... Yeah, I can't fire it. So we gotta find ammo for this gun. But it's not really a weapon per se, it's more of an item just because it's a specialist sort of thing. So now we go through this door. There had been a door there, and then we pressed the pressure plate and it disappeared. And now we can walk through this door. Oh, there we go. The other thing is if you're holding an item, we still have the jar from the first level, we didn't use it. If you're holding an item and you try to use an action, it'll do the action for that item rather than the generic pickup action or interact action. So if you want to just interact with something like opening a door or something, just do it without holding any items. So this level takes us here. We see a sort of figure in the distance. And it disappeared. It's just a tree. So this is just sort of a breather level. So we just walk through the field and basically get to the other end of it. And here we go. There we are. Alright, so now we went through the plains and now we're at Station Island, which is that island in the middle. You can see these fish sort of floating in midair, and that's intentional. So now we'll just keep going up the hill. And we got another boss fight here. So we'll just fight it. So before there was Michelangelo's David, and now there's this worm, which is like a large snake or dragon type thing. And how this fight works is it'll shoot fireballs at you and try to lunge at you, but just before it lunges, its face turns red. And that's when you can damage it, is when it's jumping at you like that. So you just hit it with your sword and repeat. And as with the previous boss fight, he goes faster and faster, and he shoots with more frequency the more you damage him. So here he's like catching up with me. There we go. So I think you hit him 7 times, and that's the end of that boss fight there. Sorry. So now we get his head, and we get the next ritual. And the ritual is called Energize, and it makes you go faster and jump higher. So like for example, it's easy to illustrate here at this lighthouse. So for example, here I can normally jump over 1 step at a time. But if I use this, I can clear 2 at a time. And sort of jump up here, which is just as well because there's too many stairs here. Okay, so now we're on top of the lighthouse, and we look around, and there's the fish and the planks, and there's this sort of stone platform here with a statue. And up here there's a lens. So actually what we can do is use the action key on the lens. And you can see that we can direct it, and it's shooting a sunbeam out. And we can just point that at the statue, and it destroys it. So now we can go down here, and we can go through this hole. And now here we are at the nightmare level. So the whole game is sort of predicated on being in a dream world. So now we're in the nightmare world, basically. And you can see the walls are made out of this sort of charry stone. So now if we walk through here, you'll notice the walls sort of close in on you and you start slowing down to a crawl. So you can either walk through normally, or you can just use Energize to zip through. And then we come into this room. So there's sort of these artifacts here, and you can't pick them up, but they're sort of like famous esoteric artifacts. There's also this floor tile that's got sort of a fractal on it. And these are scattered throughout the level, and if you step on them, there'll be like a jump scare, flashy thing, and a sound effect. So we'll go ahead and take that in mind as we step over this tile. Okay, so that one wasn't too bad. The other ones, there's other ones in there. It's sort of a random image and a random sound each time. So if you're not expecting it, it's... And here's just a guy standing behind this glass. Now if you walk into this next section, you see there's some enemies in there. When you walk forward, it screws your camera angle to the ground like this. And so you can't like face them and attack, so you gotta walk through this area and then get through this bend here. Okay. And then I don't know if okay, yeah, a couple of them are coming after me. That one doesn't see me, so that's fine. So now if we walk through here, there's going to be a chase sequence. There's like a giant mouth, you can see it. So let's begin. So if we just run here, you'll see some more of these tiles. I'll try not to step on any, because they are a little startling. And there's two ways to get through the exit here. Jump. One is to either use Energize to run to the end to outrun the mouth, or you can take this exit here. There's like a little secret exit. I'm going to just go this way. Whoops. Okay, so I ended up getting killed by the mouth. So I'm going to just jump through this real quick again. So we're going through the hallway that narrows. We're just going to run right through it. Another note on the rituals is they last for about 5 seconds each, depending on the ritual. Like Stone Skin lasts about 5 seconds. It uses about half of your bar. And then Energize uses your full bar. I'm going to step on this again. And I think that was the same sound effect as last time, but it was a different image at least, to give you some sort of idea. So there's the guy again. And there's the camera angle thing again. And we'll just scoot through. And actually, let me... Okay, there we go. So actually, it doesn't matter if they're following me or not, because this door will come down and block those guys.
Energize.
So let's proceed. I think what I'll do is... I'll take the main path rather than the side path. So again, there's this crack in the wall. I'm going to skip that and use Energize to run to the end here. And you look behind me, the monster's right at my tail there. Alright, so now we're at the dungeon level, and it's sort of this green stone, sort of a mossy looking stone that makes up the whole level. And the point of this level is, there's this little hole here. There's a gear. So the whole point of this level is up here, this machine in the middle with these two gear slots. We can put one gear there, and then we'll try going down the other path. Dodge those guys. Dodge that guy.
Energize.
I'm going to just run fast here and pick up this gear. And we'll jump up here. If you try to hit those guys, they'll shoot you at point blank range with a fireball, so it's best to just ignore them. So now with both gears in place, if you press this button, you get teleported. So there's a new area here.
Energize.
I'll jump over the spike pit and grab this gear. You can see there's a bunch of bats, and they drop bombs on you. or bowling balls if you prefer. There's just a heavy stone-like object that's meant to hit you. Now I'm just waiting to get my ritual bar charged up, and then I'll
Energize.
jump across, fall down here. I'll use the blue gear, and that teleports me to the secret room. And then what I can do is, you see this thing on the wall? You can use your gun on it to charge it up, and you see you've got a reticule here and the little metal indicator on the left-hand side of the gun charged up. And then you just press the action button to shoot. So you can just aim at stuff like that. This is the only charging station in the game, but the charged up gun can kill any enemy, including bosses, in one hit. So it's kind of a nice to have. Now we'll go down back here and we'll pick up the red gear, put down the green gear, and proceed. You can see these laser blasts sort of coming up here. There's a gun moving left and right on a little track. So what we gotta do is, is dodge the beams. And the beams knock you back a little bit when you get hit by them. Oh goodness, I'm gonna die.
Energize.
Okay, there we go. Alright, so that's the end of that level. And, okay, actually for this level I think we'll call it good because it's kind of long. This is the Labyrinth, so it's a maze. So we'll call it good for next time. I'll do another walkthrough a little later on. I'll give people a chance to play the game a little bit and see if they can get further than what I've gotten in the video. So yeah, thanks for watching. Till next time.